Inter-ministerial task team will hold a media briefing to update the nation on the state of the coronavirus in the country. President Ramaphosa addressed the nation last night, promising to disperse as many as 10,000 people to undertake countrywide testing. We speak to our reporter, Chriselda Lewis, who's standing by for us. Chriselda, thank you very much. So following the president's speech yesterday, of course, there's that inter-ministerial meeting that's taking place. What can we expect?
Well, Nompo, as you correctly point out, of course, following President Cyril Ramaphosa's address to the nation last night, in which he revealed, of course, that the country's infection numbers stand at 1,326 and that there are now 3 people who have died as a result of the coronavirus. This group of ministers will brief the media here today. We're expecting amongst them the Minister of Transport, the Minister of International Relations, the Minister of Social Development, as well as the Minister of Higher Education and Training. With regard to transport, as you mentioned already in your intro there, you'd recall that the Transport Ministry had relaxed some of the regulations relating to public transportation, in particular over the Monday to Friday, because of the dispensing of social grants. You would remember that social grants for old age and people living with disabilities started being dispensed yesterday and today. So those regulations had been relaxed to operate in terms of taxis and buses from 5 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the evening. But now what we've seen, as you pointed out, in Njoli, for example, in the Eastern Cape, in Port Elizabeth, some taxis are on strike there. They don't seem to be happy with the current regulations that are operating under the lockdown. So those are some of the questions that we'll have to pose to the Transport Minister, Fikile Mbalula, with regard to social development as well and the grants that are being dispensed. At this hour, I do understand that the Gauteng MEC for Social Development acting, Panyaza Lesufi, will also be headed to Pimville in Soweto, where I'm sure you would have heard that one of the beneficiaries died in the line yesterday while waiting to receive their grant. The MEC for Social Development, in his acting capacity, Panyaza Lesufi, is expected to visit the family of that beneficiary. So in terms of international relations, you would know that on social media, there have also been quite a number of videos that have gone viral pertaining to South Africans who've been stranded abroad and while they were in transit to other areas as well. So we're expecting the International Relations Ministry to give some direction with regard to what assistance will be given to those individuals. But Nompo, if I could just bring you up to speed, you'd see me broadcasting outside the government communications building here, and I'm doing this because there's actually a line that government has set up for journalists not to come here to the media briefing, but to call and pose their questions via the telephone. So what we've decided to do, because the SABC is providing the pool feed to all of these broadcasters, we're standing outside, allowing for there to be very little people inside the media briefing itself, and for journalists, of course, to pose their questions via the telephone and still be able to access the feed. So at this stage, we're expecting quite an extensive update from those ministers who will be addressing the media here come 2 o'clock, as some of the challenges we continue to experience as well with regard to social development. You would know that the rest of the beneficiaries, either then those who are getting their old age and disability grants, the others will start receiving theirs on the 1st of April. So you're also expecting long lines there. We're talking about some of the most vulnerable in society, and this is their chance to also go out and buy groceries and get those much needed essentials. So they've been looking forward to it for quite a long time now. So we're expecting these ministers to address quite a number of issues, that at how far the status of the country's lockdown as we see it, and also how they're going to address some of the challenges that I've alluded to.
Thanks very much, Chriselda. We'll be crossing over to you once that inter-ministerial briefing starts.